Okay, let's take a look at our charts for January 19th, 2021. The MACD, the RSI, we'll start with those for now. Going back from a weekly look at the S&P 500, been moving up on both the MACD and the RSI, so kind of got to wonder how far is this going to go up. The momentum on the MACD indicator has been closing in over the last little while, and the RSI is right near the top of the reasonable zone. For some comparison, the last time we go back to where we get this high on the RSI on the weekly chart, it's a bit of a warning every time we get close to going up outside this purple zone, and then you're really in dangerous territory once that happens. There was a bit of a warning here back in January 2020, where there was this dip down, and then that anticipated this drop down all the way in mid-March when there was the big crash. And then when it gets too far down into the oversold territory on the bottom end of this purple section for the RSI, that's where you start to see the beginning of the recovery. So on the relative strength index, it is too oversold. So all of the selling has taken place once we get to this point here in this particular case. And then you see the MACD crosses over eventually later on as a lagging indicator. But the first really clear indicator that we actually got for a bottom back there was on the RSI. So when RSI gets a little bit too high, that is anticipating sometimes these crashes. So you kind of got to wonder, when things have been going up on the MACD has been in green more than it's been in red for a while, and we have things closing in together. This momentum is weakening, and we're also in some of the overbought, getting close to that overbought territory on the RSI. So let's just zoom in a little bit to get more detail. On the daily chart, we're just crossed over going down on the MACD, and the RSI is sort of in this high-ish position. Yeah, it's not super clear signals about what would necessarily be happening with that. I would want to create some support and resistance bands for this particular video. I won't do that. Just sort of stay with the MACD and the RSI and zoom in to the different hour charts here. So 4-hour chart, not a lot of clear signal about exactly where to go, because the MACD has been on this negative pull down on the 4-hour chart for a little while here, and it looks like it could be crossing back over, and these candles moving up at the very end here indicate that we are more likely moving toward that crossover if this continues moving to the upside. And that's not something that I would jump in right at this point, one way or the other. We'll go into a 2-hour chart. There's a crossover on the MACD going up when the market opened quite a bit higher on the 19th than it was on the 15th. And that momentum has been continuing up for quite a while. I like when these moves up are beginning lower in the RSI over here. So same thing with back at the beginning of 2021, we got this low on the RSI, and that was when things started to move upward. It got too oversold, and here we are not at that lower end on the RSI. So even though things are crossing over here on the MACD, I'm not sure what I'm thinking about, as the RSI is a little bit too high relative to the MACD having just crossed over being good news. a positive indicator, but the RSI not being quite as positive as an indicator necessarily, but that's something just to keep our eyes on. On the 1 hour chart, again, we're seeing that this crossover took place when we had this big bump up from the 15th to the 19th. So over that weekend. So you kind of got to wonder if that momentum going up, if that's tapering off, or if that is going to continue. We've had the crossover here from all throughout the 19th. It's been going up, and that RSI has been moving up as well. So that momentum does not continue forever. So when do we get this correction here? Does it continue to go up before we get that correction? Tough to say. Zoom in quite a bit to the 5-minute chart here, just because it's sort of interesting what's been happening here, where we get this jump up right at the very end of the day. There's this crossover on the MACD on a 5-minute, and we're getting pretty high on the RSI on this chart. So if I was trading on a 5-minute chart, I might be looking for a downward moving trade. So even going by the VWAP here, which price action tends, all things being equal, to converge toward the VWAP. I'm getting signs based on the RSI being really high here, having this momentum moving up on the MACD indicator having taken place, and really just based on how high we are on the RSI. Of course, with a 5-minute chart, you are not looking to be in trades for a super long time. So if you were looking on getting into a down trend, there is an option for something like SH, short pro shares. These are adjusted very frequently, so they are not the sort of things that you'd want to be in for a very long time. It is especially speculative and especially risky to be playing with these shorts. So if you are doing a practice trade, it's a good way to understand how these operate and understand where you might get caught in your trades, and find out where you make those errors. Do it on the practice trades before you use real money. That's what I would recommend, because you want to have experience before you really get into the markets and risk your money. I will leave that there, and that will be it for this video. Thank you for watching.